Shalom, everybody. It's been a privilege for me today to be able to share this video, a video of a powerful and such a blessing testimony from our brother Jeremy. Hi, Jeremy. How are you doing? How are you doing today?
Better than good.
So it's a very privilege to have you here, and I'm so glad to see you here, especially that you have, you were trapped, in that fire in the Gunung Raung. I was a bit terrified when I read the WhatsApp message from Audrey in our live group WhatsApp, when she asked us to pray for you, that you were trapped in the mountain with the fire beneath you. And then of course in the morning I praise Lord as well, because I know that you were safe, and definitely at that moment I know that God worked in His miraculous way, to deliver you from all of those incidents. But then again, so tell me, because I'm not really a mountain guy, so I hike or climb mountain for, well, you can probably call it one or twice. So what's actually the term for it? Is it hiking, climbing, or something?
Yeah, I can say that it's a hiking, but I prefer to be called it as a mountaineering because it requires some technical aspects of using webbing and also using like the carabiner and also 8-figure, and basic kind of the 3-point kind of like climbing. We call that kind of like activity is mountaineering, which just requires, including like the hiking is part of the process of mountaineering.
I see. And of course, I've known you for quite a while. I know that you're a seasoned mountaineering. So
Not really. Not really.
So how long you've been mountaineering?
I've been doing this kind of like mountaineering since 2007, I would say. Since 2007.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's quite a while. And of course, I think probably most of the mountains in Indonesia you have.
Not really. Most of the time I travel most of the volcanoes in Java Island. Like outside of Java Island, yeah, probably Lombok, Binjani. So that's the only it.
I heard from some friends that actually this, maybe we can call it Gunung Raung.
Gunung Raung, yeah.
Instead of Mount Raung. Gunung Raung, it's a quite challenging mountain. Is it true?
Yeah, true. If you're aware of the mountains here in Java Island itself, one of the most challenging kind of like mountain is Gunung Raung. It's located in Banyuwangi, East Java. To be exactly, it's kind of like a small town by the name of Kalibaru. Kalibaru.
So have you ever been to this Gunung Raung before?
Nope, never. This is my first time.
And then how long have you planned to go to Gunung Raung, or whether you already planned before to go to Gunung Raung?
Good questions. I was planning to go to this Gunung Raung since I think month before our wedding. This is my wife.
Oh wow!
So yeah.
Alright, let me start there. Guys, they are newlywed, so this is husband and wife. Like how long?
We're 3 months.
3 months.
Been
So
there for 3 months.
remember that Audrey is taken. So don't dare to approach her. Okay, take note on that. All right.
So yeah. What was the question? Yeah, I've been planning this kind of trip since like I think about 1 month before our wedding. It was somewhere around June, I believe, right? Yeah, about June, yeah. 2 months before, so May. So it was since May. So I've been planning, but then again, I decided not to at the very last minute because we were thinking like we're preparing for our wedding. So I don't think it was wise to go to the mountain at that time. So I've been binging to go to Gunung Raung, and of course, what we have in our mind is Gunung Raung is like one of the most challenging kind of like track in Java Island. So yeah, I think it was a good decision to postpone it until finally I had the chance to went to Gunung Raung was early of month of October, which is yeah, about a month ago.
So did you go straight directly to Gunung Raung from Jakarta, or you went for to other places first?
Oh yeah, before we went to Gunung Raung, Audrey and I, my wife and I, we went to Malang, Batu, for a holiday. So it was kind of it's more kind of like just traveling, simple, like relaxed traveling. We went to Gunung Bromo, and then we went to Batu, Malang, and so on. The plan was it was a short travel for us before Audrey have to go to Surabaya for working. While Audrey go to Surabaya for working, the husband go hiking, and I was thinking that was a good deal. It was a good idea. I got a good deal, and then so while she worked, and I go to Gunung Raung. So yeah.
Cool. And then were there any signs before you went to Gunung Raung?
Signs, you mean like event that somehow it should be a warning that
Yeah,
I
kind
should
of like
be careful.
hinders you. Yeah, right.
Yeah. There's several events. First, it was a kind of minor thing. I lost my glasses, my sunglasses. My sunglasses. I mean, like losing the sunglasses itself is it's quite a big deal if you go. Probably sounds to be not a big deal, but it's a big deal if you go go hiking because like it's the only thing that protects your eyes.
Especially on top of the mountain.
Yeah, so it's the UV line is very high.
Right.
That's one, and then number two, I lost my wallet.
Oh my goodness.
Actually not lost my wallet. I left it behind. Silly me. I left it inside of a car.
Right.
On one of the car that we kind of like we rent to travel to Gunung Raung. We left it behind and but good thing is the driver was good. God is good. So the driver kind of like kindly returning it to us. The wallet. That was the second sign.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third sign. What was the third sign? The third sign was the. Oh yeah, this is the third sign, which is I think this is like a major sign. So after we had a short trip to Malang and Batu, we went to Surabaya by train. I don't remember what I ate, but something that I ate or I drink makes me really sick. I have this kind of like symptom of a food poisoning. So that night, just the day before I have to be in Gunung Raung, I was in a hotel, like it's a small hotel in Surabaya. And I was so sick, I was so horrible, I was in a horrible condition, and my wife had to take care of me, and she kind of like she take care of me, and then she feed me, and then she pray for me. So that was the third sign that I received, and that was a major sign. Actually at the time I was kind of in dilemma. Should I just push on to this trip, or should I just bail out? Yeah, I mean at the time I stubbornly decided to keep pushing on. So.
But I mean, like it's kind of like surprising because you're a seasoned mountaineering and then you've traveled in Egypt quite a lot, and then I don't think you would have any problems whatsoever to eat street food or those kind of food.
Exactly.
And then I think is this your first time?
Yeah, it was completely odd over like since 2007, and never before I got that sick.
Right.
Just right before the trip, it's just like very odd, it's very unusual.
Do you have any other signs after that?
Yeah, the other signs was on the next day itself. Like it was on the 3rd of October. That means I left Surabaya all the way to Kalibaru, small town in Banyuwangi. So
is it Thursday? Is it?
Yeah, that is Thursday, 3rd of October. Yeah. So on the way up to the Gunung Raung, which is somewhere along the way, not far though. It's just kind of like 1 hour of hiking. My shoes fell off, but then again the glue of my shoes started to fail. So maybe because I haven't used it for about a year, so the glue that connecting the lower part of the hiking shoes soles has just kind of start to open out like that.
Asking for food.
Yeah, it's hungry. It's just like a crocodile, if you can imagine. A crocodile's hungry like that. And then like it's a good thing is like the guide, the local guide there's just kind of like he's being kind of resourceful.
Right.
He wrapped it up with a webbing and also with some kind of a tiny kind of like rope, so it lasts for a while. But whenever I walk, every now and then have to kind of like adjust it a little bit because the things that kept crossing my mind at the time was like is this thing's gonna last? Like is this thing's gonna last because it's a long way up there, and then like what about on the way kind of like from up to down, like up to back to the base camp. So just kind of have this kind of keep little prayer like, oh, please survive, please stay, please stay, please stay, please stay, please be, something like that. So yeah.
Okay, probably people at home also know, some couples do share, some visions or some signs. That's what I would say. So that's why I'm asking Audrey. While your husband here had that signs, what about you as the wife? Do you have any signs as well?
At first I did not think that what he did to left his wallet or he was a sign. I thought it was just like Jeremy's being clumsy and he just human error, and I don't think it's a sign. And then about the food poisoning, I think it's just you're just sick because of tired. But the night before when he was sick, I was praying for him. We're in our room. Our room is very bright. And then while I was praying for him, and it suddenly like total dark.
When you close your eyes?
Yeah, when I close my eyes, it's total dark. And because I'm afraid of dark, so I opened my eyes. I thought someone turned off the lamp. No, it's not. So I close again and it's dark again. But I think that's just I don't think about it more. And then I saw like a vision, maybe you can say like a vision that I saw that people crawling on the top
person.
of a person. A person crawling on
Shrub,
like
Bushes,
a dry grass. They're crawling, and I just realized it's a girl. But I think it's just my imagination. So I did not tell him also about my vision. I just like okay. I stopped praying while praying, and then I stopped because of that vision. But then I stopped for a while. I think about it, but so it's just my imagination. So I continue praying, and then that's it. We went to
train station. So drop me off in the train station. Yeah.
And then when you reach Gunung Raung, basically you went to the base camp first, which is the lower part of.
Yeah, the base camp. The base camp is in this small village. It's a coffee plantation village by the name of Desa Wonorejo.
So that's the point where you start.
Yeah,
right.
The base camp.
When you were there, how many people were there?
Okay, how many people? You mean like the team that went up to the Gunung Raung? Yeah. So my team was just 3 of us. Pak Widi, the guide, Lutfi, a local kind of like participants, local hikers like from the small town Jember, East Java. So just 3 of us. So we went up, and then apparently I found out later on that there's another team on the way up to. It's seven foreigners, 7 Singaporeans, plus in additional with their 2 guides. So in total, 12 people. 12 people, the combination between both of us. But yeah, we have 2 different teams, but then again we are, just like we went up to Gunung Raung all together. It's just like somehow the Singaporean, they went a little bit ahead of us.
Seems that there's not a lot of people there.
Yeah, exactly. It was a not popular day to go hiking because it was a weekdays because Thursday, right? I mean, most of the hikers they will start planning usually on Friday or Saturday.
You mentioned about the Singaporeans. Roughly how old are they?
They're still young. They're still like 20s in their early 20s, I guess, 24, 23. Yeah,
and were they kind of like very seasonal mountaineering?
Not sure. I think so. Yeah.
The preparation.
They're prepared, and then like one thing I can tell, it was not the first time like hiking mountains. The way I can tell is just like usually whenever you see them like hiking shoes, their equipment and everything.
And then of course, like what you mentioned before, they went ahead of you guys.
Oh yeah, and then they're quite fast. They're fresh. They're younger. They have more energy. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then when you climb to the mountain, how did you know there was a fire?
Okay, I have 2 questions. We did not aware there's a fire until the next day, 4th of October. 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
So we woke up from Camp 7. Camp 7 is the place, the spot halfway, about 200 something meters above the sea level, where we pitch our tent. We kind of like rest, we sleep there.
This is not the top red, right?
No, not the top jet. It's from the Camp 7 to the
Summit.
not really the summit though, but we call it the batas vegetasi, that is the line where the
Vegetation.
exact kind of like the particular altitude where the plants and the trees and
Yeah,
shrubs,
reach the top.
everything
Yeah,
stop growing.
yeah,
Basically.
yeah,
It's not stop growing. That's the line. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was about another 2.5 hour trip from Camp 7. Yeah, 2.5 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So that morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, we reached that line, the ridge. So that is the last part that we can see trees and we can take shelter. Yeah, we call it, let's just for the sake of simplicity, let's just call it Camp 9. So we reached Camp 9 around 5 o'clock in the morning, and that was the moment that we realized there's smoke, there's a fire. It was Pak Widi, the one who spotted. Like, it's too far, it's very far.
So below you, is it?
Yeah, it's on the western slope of the Gunung
Okay.
Raung. So judged by the distance, I would say probably 5 kilometers. Oh no, 2 or 3 kilometers away, judging by the distance. So and it's pretty far, and it's just kind of like tiny. I saw there's a tree fire spot. We kind of saw the smoke billowing up to the sky. So. And then Pak Widi tried to nudge us. Hey, I think we should just go back down and then back to the base camp. This fire, right? But then again, maybe he's trying to be polite, not being assertively enough. I would say we didn't take that kind of like warning as a serious. So we're just like staying there. One more thing that I need to tell you that somehow I forgot to tell you. When we reached there, Camp 9 by 5 o'clock in the morning. Oh, by the way, we have to wake up early in the morning because we are attempting like what we call the terminology is like summit attack. Summit attack is an activity that where you should pack up lightly, bring only enough water, bring only enough kind of food and equipments like survival kit and first aid. And also flashlight, okay, because it's too dark. That was what we call the summit attack. That morning, somehow, silly, maybe you can consider this is also another sign. I left my first aid kit and also my survival kit, which consists of like knife, matches, matches to start a fire. Fire starter, and also like med kit. I left it all of them in the Camp 7. Never happens to me before. Like, usually whenever I go to summit attack, I'll always prepare for the worst, right?
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely. Because so that was like there was a kind of like a mini disaster, but I was thinking like, well, who cares, right? I mean, what can go wrong? So in Camp 9, so we were. Oh, the wind was. Sorry, excuse me. The weather was very, very hostile to us in the morning. The wind was so strong, and then it feels, the way I describe it is just like if you drive through the highway and then you go down the window, that's how it feels. It's just kind of like hard for you to stand up properly, and then like because the wind kept blowing, and then the worst part is like this wind will carry the dust. Sorry, excuse me. And also the sands into your eyes, into your nose. So you have to kind of be careful not get into this particles not entering your eye. So that's the painful part. So if you look at the pictures, if you ever Google or Instagram like Gunung Raung, then you see like what you call the famous ridges. That it's very treacherous route. You have to walk through ledges on the right, ledges on the left, which requires you a lot of like high concentration and kind of like nerve of steel, because it's no joke. If you're joking around, you're not being careful enough, you might fall into your destination, straight destination to your death. So, or at least broken bones. So now because of the weather was so hostile to us, Pak Widi decided, and we all decided, let's just like stand still, wait still, like somewhere in back Camp 9, wait until the wind a little bit died down, because it's impossible for us to go across because the wind is just too strong. So we wait from 5 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock in the morning, so that's about 4 hours. Yeah, we wait for 4 hours, doing nothing, just killing time. It's a waiting game. The reason like why we stay there and then we are kind of like still trying to, because we still have a hope that we can reach the summit. Well, maybe at the time I personally was thinking like, is it worth it? I was thinking like, I should just kind of like go back down to the base camp. Seeing like the peak, the summit of the Gunung Raung itself is already satisfying. Like, I think I had enough. Like, why should I push myself further, right? Unfortunately, Luffy is like one of the youngest member in the team. I know how does it feel to be at his age. Like summit is everything. He still has this kind of ambition to reach the summit. So he will not. He decided to kind of like to wait for it. He decided to wait for it until somehow as long as he could, so he can reach the summit.
But you mentioned about this strong wind, this condition, the weather's condition. Is it common in Gunung Raung?
Not at all. Thank you for asking me that question because according to the local Kawi, that is not normal at all. Not at all.
So never been happen like that?
Never been happened before. Yeah. So basically, if only Pak Willy knew that the weather is like that, probably he will refuse to take us up to Gunung Raung.
So probably this is another sign.
yeah, it's another sign. Like, in fact, I remember the night when we slept in Camp 7. The wind was so strong that every now the Singaporean tent. I remember the team from the Singapore. Their tent was completely collapsed. I forgot to tell you about that one. Like it's because the wind is just so strong. Yeah, so that was like another clue though. But anyway, we keep pushing on. So that morning, on the 4th of October, 9 o'clock in the morning, the Singaporean team arrived in Camp 9.
Okay.
And we tell everything what's going on with the wind, with the weather condition, and somehow kind of urge them that what, I think we should kind of like just go back down. Well, we wait there for another 1 hour. Around 10 o'clock, the Singaporean team decided to push on. When they pushed on, I was still thinking, well, you know what? Let them see and taste the wind, the whack of the wind, the power of the raw power of the nature. Well, probably they will they will chicken out and they will kind of go back down, right? We wait, and no, they push on, and then like for us, well, you know what? The Singaporean teams went through we should too. Like why not?
Pride.
The pride. Yeah. So let's just do it. So there you go. Singaporean team ahead of us, and then our team we follow through through this kind of treacherous. It's no joke though. Seriously, it feels like the way I describe it. You walk into this kind of a narrow path that not more than 30 centimeters wide. Not more than 30 centimeters wide. Like ravine, rocks. So and then with the crazy things like with the
wind,
the wind, and sometimes the wind can be like that. So when it happens, you need to be aware. You need to be attentive to what are the clues that your five senses gives you. When that happens, you have to immediately duck. So you're not gonna be blown away by the winds. So that was the conditions. Basically, that is pretty kind of most of the things that we have to do all the way through the summits. Yeah.
So in the end, you all reached the summit.
Yeah, we reached the summit around 12 o'clock, I guess. So that means the journey took about 2 and 3 hours ish to reach the summit.
12 p.m.
Yeah, 12 p.m.
And what happened to the fire then? After you reached the summit?
Yeah, again, at the time we did not aware about the fire. The moment that we aware about the fire is getting serious, I was pretty close though. No, I was pretty close. We went down. I remember when we went down from the summit. We had enough because it's too cold out there. Up there, even though it's 12 p.m. Sun is bright, but it's very cold. So we decided to climb down. Now I didn't even realize it, but I saw smokes, kind of the smoke start to reaching us, and every now and then I smell I start to smell someone smoking here. Someone's kind of make a barbecue or something. Every now and then I can smell smells of the smoke. But I was not aware that it was a fire,
So you didn't see any fire on the summit?
Not at all. Just faintly, kind of I can smell someone smoke a cigarette, but none of us smoke cigarette at the time.
Right.
So
then what happened on the summit then?
There's nothing. Summit is just it's just like a normal kind of experience in the summit. We're taking pictures. We're just I prayed. I think we of course that is it's just kind of emotional moment when you reach the summit. You bow down and then you pray. You just being grateful to God that somehow you reach that point on the summit, and then you're just have enjoying our food, snack, drinking water, and then continue back down. So but the moment that I realized things are serious It was around 3 to 4 o'clock. I'm not really sure. I don't have a watch at that time. 3 to 4 o'clock p.m. when we reached back to Camp 9. Now Camp 9, as I said earlier, that's the last place that you can have to that you can be protected from the elements and the winds and everything. Now I mentioned before there's a 12 of us. Now here comes the 13th person. Now this 13th person is a porter. Now this porter, that early morning he went up all the way from the base camp to the Gunung Raung because he's a local. Of course, he can walk, he can travel faster than the rest of us, the city boys. So he went up to Camp 7 with the goal and the purpose to help the guide to prepare for the meal, the cook. So to cook the meal for us. Now, this guy, he went up to Camp 9 with the panic face in his, with the panic expression, and he frantically kind of like telling us, we cannot go back to Camp 7 because there's a fire. Are you kidding me? Fire? Yeah, fire. Like, there's a fire, and then the fire just started when he left the Camp 7. The fire started engulfing the Camp 7. He did his best to kind of like, to evacuate some of the equipment, tents and everything as much as he could, but nothing much he can do. Nothing much that he can do. So according to him, like, some of the stuff are burned already. Oh man, my wallet, my money and everything, my tickets and everything. Oh man, my gosh, everything is gone. Like, and oh no, the bag is yours. It's my wife's bag, and my wife's gonna be like, upset. I was thinking like, oh my goodness, if I came back here and then like, from this mountain and my wife know what's going on, like, that my bag is on fire, that's it. I'm gonna be banned forever from hiking, from going hiking or mountaineering. I was thinking like, and that was the only thing, that was the only moment that I was thinking like, oh, this thing's getting serious. So yeah, that afternoon we realized that I think we have to face the reality that we're going to have to stay. Going to stay in that Camp 9 with small amount of water, with small amount of food. I remember I only had like 1.5 bar of a biscuit. That's it. That's the only food I had. Solid food, like military grade. We have to stay there overnight. We accept that reality. We try not to be kind of like in a panic. Good thing nobody's panic because I think I agree. This, we all kind of like seasoned, like the Singaporean teams too. I think they were kind of like seasoned hikers. And we make a fireplace. We help each other, and we try to familiar with each other. We talk. We make the fire. And meanwhile, Pawi and also the other guy, they went down to Camp 7 to see how the things are, and they try their best to kind of like salvage some of the food, water, and maybe like shelter, because most likely we're going to have to stay stay in that place, Camp 9. Even though it's being shrouded with the trees and the shrub, still though the night is brutal. It's like cold. It's like the wind. Whenever there's a wind, like it's shivering. Like that's why like without the campfire, I don't think we will survive. The only thing that I remember at that time was just like, Audrey my wife must not know. Audrey cannot know about this. Audrey cannot know about this. Or if Audrey have to know about this, it has to be from me. It has to be from me first. Okay, not from the media. Anyway, around, not sure, maybe 8 to 9 o'clock ish, we realized that something's
Getting
serious. Things getting serious. It's just kind of like the level 3 of seriousness. That the sky started to become turns to crimson, and one of the singer were like, he pointed, what was that? No way! There's a fire. Like the fire went up. Fire went up from Camp 7 all the way to Camp 9, which is like that is a 2-hour trip, right? So the fire is traveling so fast because of the help of the weather, the wind. As I said earlier before, the wind picked up like kind of just rapidly. It helps to spread the fire from the western slopes of the Gunung Raung all the way to the east. And then like not just now, like it went up. So when we realized that, we were kind of like, we were confused at that time. What are we gonna do? Well, I remember in my thought at that time, I'm not gonna leave this place because fireplace is warm. This is the only place that I have. This is the only place that I have the closest to home, right? Fire, right? And then the guy, Pawidi, when we start to see the fire, Pawidi, he just came from Camp 7. we saw him like, he frantically going up with the another guy. He's shouting, Nike, go up, like, Nike. What he meant is like, leave everything behind, immediately. Go back all the way to the vegetation, the vegetative line, like, as I said earlier, let's just call it Puncak Bendera. So, which is a jagged rock mountain exposed to the elements and no trees or shrubs or whatsoever, with the hope that the fire and the smoke will not gonna catch us. So, what happens is like we went up. It's a kind of like 10 minutes walk, 5-minute walk, and then we took shelter. There was a little bit confusions because like some of the group we got separated a little bit, but then again we took a shelter into kind of like the slope of the ridge, so it kind of like protect us a little bit from the wind, but does not help much. So we're just like huddle up and just kind of like try to keep ourselves warm in the middle of the darkness, right? We have to conserve everything, even the battery that I have in my flashlight. Shoes start to get fall apart, by the way. So what happens next is I fought with the cold temperatures that night. We fought with the cold temperatures. That is our common enemy. Because it's a serious thing, because the more that we wait there, the more that we will get into condition what we call hypothermia, where your core temperature is lower than 36 degrees Celsius.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the moment that we were desperately trying to keep ourselves warm. We cannot make a fire because just somehow there's no trees around, and then we have no more energy to make a fire, and like the wind is just too strong. I don't think like make a fire is a good idea. So I remember that I huddle up. As I was huddled up like that on the floor, I prayed to God like this: God, you can stop the wind, right? You're a powerful God. You can stop this wind. I believe in you. I no doubt about it. I have a faith that you will stop the wind. In Jesus' name, in faith, stop the wind. I prayed that one in my heart. I cannot pray here. And the wind didn't stop. I keep praying. I sing hallelujah, and I pray, God, stop the wind with my faith. Again, with the faith, stop the wind. Finally, the wind stopped. But only for 5 seconds.
Oh my God.
Only for 5 seconds. And then after that, the wind picks up again. And I keep praying. And the wind stopped only for 1-2 seconds. And after that, the wind picks up until I stopped praying. And I could not hold it anymore. I don't remember much after that, because at the time I start to feel sleepy. I tried to stay awake, but I cannot. I fell asleep. So, and then in that sleep, according to the guide, I'm not sure how many guys who were left there. Later, I found out like the other guy tried to find an alternative way. But one of the guys told me that somehow I start to kind of like rambling random things. Is basically I start to gibberish. Now that was the first symptom that I'm about to get hypothermia, and I don't even remember like what I said. So not know how long was that, but until finally we decided to. I think we silently agree on this condition, the reality that either we stay there and we die because of hypothermia, or one of us we die because of hypothermia and things will get worse. Or second one, let's try to push our luck. Let us try not to die like an animal. At least give an effort to give a chance to kind of like to fight off the fire. So that's what we did. We decided to kind of like we divided into teams. The guide and also some of the guides will be ahead of us, looking for the alternative way, that path that is not burned, or probably is already burned, so it's kind of like safe to be traversed. The girls follow behind the guides, and some other men, the boys, they're trying to put off the fire on the right side, on the left side of the path, make sure that the fire and the smoke does not too overwhelming for us to pass through. And the most toughest part is like the person who's at the back, because you need to make sure that the fire does not trap us from behind, because just in case we have to go back up, so we have an escape route. So that was the plan. And you know what, I have no what was I thinking, but then again I was thinking it's a good idea, because I would rather to be near to the fire because it's warm, and meanwhile I have something to do, and then it's warm to be near the fire, right, rather than like in the kind of puncak bendera. So that's what we did. But the plan, we throw the plan immediately because it doesn't work. So we changed the plan. But we decided, what we're gonna do? So he was the eldest of the senior. This is the most senior kind of like guy. We listened to him because of his experience and wisdom, and he said, okay, if the smoke's kind of like if the smoke is being carried away by the wind, and there's a small window of opportunity for us to go through, then we run immediately. We have to travel as fast as we could, and if there's a smoke and fire, there's nothing much we can do. We just have to wait and progress slowly, painfully slowly, agonizing slowly. So that was pretty it. So as I said earlier, the formation, like we make sure that nobody's left behind. The girls are behind Pawidi right away. Pawidi is opening the way. Some of the guide will be somewhere in the middle, and should be like one guy behind us. Again, that was the plan. Just because things so far so good, but then again, just because my shoes, I mentioned before about my shoes, right? It started to fail on me, and then like now not just like the right shoes, but then again also the left shoes. It's just like both of them are fall apart. I end up like those kind of Ace Ventura. Both of them. And then like they start to kind of like open up like that. That slows me down. Now it's no joke. You know what I mean? I had no time to slow down. It's just I need to work. I need to travel. I need to travel as fast as I could. So, which is that really slows me down. And then I end up become the last. In the group. We got the last in the group. Now, regarding about that experience, yeah, I would say it's a very kind of like agonizing kind of like moment, because the smokes, the fire. Actually, it's not the fire that kind of like painful though. The painful part is like the combination between smoke, wind, and also the ash and also dust as it was being blown by the wind. So this kind of like fiery chaff and everything, it will go through your face, it go through your body and everything. It's just kind of like, well, it will tore our jacket. It will kind of like burn. And my biggest fear was like one of this random charcoal blown into kind of like entering into my clothes or like into my eye. That would be freak accident. Oh, by the way, the tree can explode. I just found out that the tree can explode in that condition when there's a forest fire like that. The tree can just like that, and it become a small splinter of a ember. That's pretty scary though.
So what did you do? Because smoke and then debris, all the ashes. What did you do? I mean, like to prevent that to enter you. Is there any certain kind of position?
Not much you can do. It's just like basically I cover everything with good things that when we went the summit attack, we were well layered with jackets and everything, with gloves, and I got a cap with me, put the hoods on, and I got this kind of like a bandana that I use it to cover my mouth. So at least it helps me a little bit to breathe. Not much. It's still painful. So that's the thing that's the only protection that I have. I have to protect myself from the smoke and also the fire. And that's it. So
you still ran like your position of your body still ran until
we just have to sometimes we have to stop. We just have to kind of like cover our face from the heat, because the intense heat. That's pretty much our activity. And then like we cannot really run fast because we were so exhausted. By that time I haven't slept for about almost 24 hours almost at a time. But in total, I haven't slept for about 27 hours after I reached the base camp. I haven't slept for 27 hours. And then constantly moving and constantly physically active, right? Physically kind of like exhausted. So there was this moment that I was isolated from the rest of the group. They left behind without me. Not their fault. I don't blame them. I don't think they were aware that I was at the back and then I was left behind. I don't think they were aware. I'm pretty sure that I do understand like why they're also afraid of the condition, and they need to travel as fast as they can. They cannot just simply like wait for me because I'm slow. I got bogged down because of my shoes. I totally understand that one. But trust me, it was like one of the most loneliest moments in my life. Isolated from the rest of the group and surrounded with fire, smokes, dark. It's very kind of like a disoriented kind of a condition. Do not know where to go. Not sure where to go. Because the path, you cannot see the path anymore because Pawidi opening like a new path. So it was the loneliest moment that I remember that I prayed to God like, yeah, I make my peace. I make my peace with God. Like I said, like God, I don't hate you. I have no problem with you. I have no bitter against you. But if this is the moment, I am so ready. I am surrendered to you. I surrender to you, and like, yeah. It's just like, no bitterness. I don't even have a bitterness or disappointment with the rest of the team, with the diet. Nothing. I don't even have a bitterness with what's going on around me, with my circumstances. I am at peace. If I have to die here like this, in this way, I was still gonna praise you. I'm still gonna praise you, and say, I'm still gonna praise your name. I'm still gonna raise my hand, sing hallelujah, I would say. Yeah, I just pray like for my wife, who is still in Surabaya at the time, and my family, the people that I left. Like at that time, I pray that the Holy Spirit will comfort them. Holy Spirit will give them peace, and somehow that knowing that somehow I am okay. I'm okay. I mean that's in the condition. I'm at peace right now. I hope they have the same peace too, like that I have right now. So it was the most loneliest 5 minutes, because I'm pretty sure because of the confusion and the thickness. Actually, the rest of the team are ahead of me, but then again we are being blocked by the fires and also the smoke. So as I went through some of the firewall and also went through some of the smoke screen, I see them. And then, true, they were not aware that I was left behind. They were not aware. So they were there, and then I keep up with them. So it was 3 hours of journey.
By yourself?
No, 3 hours journey from the Camp 9 all the way to Camp 7, which is on a normal situation, it can be only done within 1 hour-ish.
Okay.
And then it ended up at 3 hours because we progressively agonizing slow, kind of like cautious. And there was this moment I remember, like, it's related with Audrey's vision. Because probably we have to open up the new alternative route. We have to go through this thicket shrub and kind of like twigs and everything. It would just like hinders us, and the twigs kind of like snagging our backs and puts and everything, torn with the thorns and everything. As we crawled through, it's just like, it's crazy because like the sand is hot. I forgot to tell you before, like, the sand is hot, like the ground is hot because some of them are mixed with the. Now, when we talk about the forest fire, like most of the fire is not on the canopy of the trees. Most of the fire are on the ground.
Right.
So, and then the fire went through underground, and it burned the roots of the grass. So it's hot. Like, my shoes. Like I remember, like my shoes. Like the what you call the rope that I kind of like the webbing that the Pawidi used to wrap my shoes and everything, it started to fall off. It got burnt. And then good thing I wear my gloves, but then again I can feel the warmth, and I even hear like one of the Singaporean, like he was screaming in pain, like, ow, it's hot, careful, And then it's crazy. We have to crawl through, but yet it's hot. It's always hot, so we have to be careful where we put our hands and our feet as we crawl through those kind of like those kind of like shrub and thicket. And I knew it later on from Audrey after I reached safe place, like that is exactly like what she saw in the vision. I'm pretty sure like the girl that she saw in the dream was like one of the Singaporean, like that's exactly the vision that she saw, and then it was dark.
Okay, and then after that?
So what happens next is like we reached Camp 7. Good, thank God that the tent is still there, even though there's some kind of like holes and a little bit kind of like damaged by the fire. Most of the tent are collapsed already because of the wind was so strong. And my stuff, my bags, my wallet and everything, the tickets and everything are still there. So it was for us. It's just like a mini Christmas present for us because we drink. There's a water supply and everything. We drink, we eat as much as we could. Some of the team, they were exhausted. They were just like immediately fell to sleep, and then but not for long. Our stop there were not for long. Maybe for only like 15 minutes because we have to pack up everything as fast as we could, and we continue our journey before we were trapped by the fire. Because as we're doing that kind of thing, like drink, sleep, rest, we can still see the fire around us, but it's relatively safe. At least for some amount of time. So it's kind of like a safe zone for a while. So pack up our stuff and immediately I will continue our journey. At that time I was thinking, oh man, it's gonna be like a long journey. Like from camp 7, from base camp, it took 8 hours.
Oh my goodness.
On the way up, on the way up, it should be 8 hours on normal situation. I was thinking, oh, it's gotta be like another 8 hours. Okay, before I had like 3 hours. Now it's going to be like 8 hours of battling through the fire all over again. God give me strength, right? So yeah, we did it. So we did it like camp 7 is on fire. Soon we're leaving. Like it's on fire. Camp 6 is on fire. We did not stop in camp 6. We just keep pushing on. Now after we leave camp 6 and we reach kind of almost towards the camp 5, then the fire is the fire is no. I mean, those area is already burned. So pretty much basically the fire and the smokes are gone. Only like just the leftovers of the fire damage. And we look up every now and then we realize that we shouldn't be alive. Because like we can see, like if you can imagine, like the Gunung Raung is just like a pyramid. So it's just like the neck of the pyramid. It's just like covered with fire. It's just like kind of a candle or something. And we went through that candle part and then we were thinking like, we shouldn't be alive. Anyway, as we continue the journey, so again, at that time I had no idea how long we're gonna still walk there. I was super duper tired. The 27 I haven't slept for 27 hours. Did not eat properly, and then do not have enough water. Even though I had just water in camp 7, it started to take toll on my physical body.
Were you still behind?
I was very slow. Like somehow again the shoes, and I was so exhausted.
Okay.
I cannot keep up with the younger team, with the younger members of the team. So I start to felt what we call like hallucinations. I start to hallucinate. I start to see things and hear things that doesn't exist. Like for example, I remember like this vividly. I saw it. It's a security guard, post office, the gardu post satpam, like in the middle of the forest at night, in the altitude of like 2,000 something. That doesn't make sense, isn't it? Doesn't make sense. But I saw it like it's obvious. It gives you some kind of like curiosity. It gives you some kind of like ooh, like security guard. Okay. Some other things. I saw a cat. Now this is getting crazy. Okay. I saw a black and white cat. A black and white cat just kind of like passing by in front of me, like about probably like 10 meters ahead of me. It's a cat. It means I'm near to the village, right? And then I hear sound. I hear people like chattering. I remember that the obvious one. I listened to a bunch of children giggling.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, in the middle of the darkness.
Scary.
That's the thing. Like if I think about it, it's kind of like a bit creepy. But at the time, no, I was not even scared. Like it was just like, I mean, walking through the forest. That's not scares me. Not because like I'm being brave. It's just like I'm getting used to it. Right? Not getting used to it in the middle of the forest. But no, actually my concern was at that time, my biggest concern is I cannot trust my mind. I cannot trust my mind anymore because I'm so exhausted. It's only a matter of time because of this hallucination. I'm going to make a bad decision. It will mislead me. So I decided to, I cannot took it any longer. I found like there's this 2 tree left and right. It's quite pretty solid. And then I lay down there, turn off my lights, I took a nap, I sleep. It doesn't take long for me to take a nap when you are so tired. Like I don't remember like my position, but it was an awkward position for me to sleep. I slept immediately and I start to see dreams. I start to feel dreams where I lost the sense of time. How long did I sleep? But one thing that I remember, there was this kind of like a warm voice inside of my head says, "Wake up, get up, come on, you're not done yet. Come on, let's go, wake up." All right, I wake up. Take note on that story because later on, okay, I found out last week in this the live group that I have, Thursday night live group. One of the brother shared the story that it was exactly at around that time, around 3 o'clock in the morning. He prayed for me. He knew it from later on from my wife that somehow, but he posted in the prayer, the WhatsApp group, the prayer request. He prayed for me 3 o'clock in the morning. And I believe that there's the work of the Holy Spirit somehow kind of like give me rejuvenate me, give me the strength for the last push, right, to continue the journey. Again, at the time I had no idea how I'm gonna walk, but at the time I don't care, just gonna sleep and then I wake up. I woke up and I continued my journey for probably like what, 15, half an hour, I'm not really sure. Then finally I saw lights, the headlights, and some humans kind of like, you know,
This is the real one.
at the time, again, hallucinations again. No, it was real. It was real. I reached a place what we call like Camp 4. Now in Camp 4, there were it was bright. It was so bright, but I cannot see most of the faces because most of the source of light that they're using is like the headlamps, right?
Yeah.
So and then it feels like surreal. Like it feels like in a movie that you were being like what? I was being
Drawn to
welcomed. I was being kind of like, you know, they tried to put me like, put the arm over here, and then they tried to give me water, they give me food, they tried to like, they tried to check if you have any wound, you have anyone else, like, and then they were like, oh, ini yang terakhir, this is the last one. So apparently like I was the last one, and nobody bothered to kind of like try to try to keep up, try to kind of like search for me, but anyway, yeah, I don't blame them, anyway. And I thought they were the rescue team. They were not, by the way. I knew it later the next day that they were not. They were just like basically a group of hikers, you know, the weekend crowds that tried to attempt to go to Gunung Raung on the weekend, but then again they were stopped there in Camp 4 because they just got the news that the Gunung Raung is on fire. So yeah, they give me food and then they let me rest, and then again my jacket was soaked with sweat. I decided not to wear my jacket. I was thinking like as I was laid down, I'm not gonna take a sleep here. I'm not gonna sleep just because it's gonna be cold. Yeah, it was cold.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put my head there for a while. It's just amazing. Like somehow when you were so exhausted, your standard of sleep is really kind of like low. I just put my head for a while and I slept. Like I remember last time I saw the clock. At that time it was 4 o'clock in the morning. When I woke up, it was 7 o'clock in the morning. On the 5th of October, that is Saturday, 5th of October. Now, what runs through my mind at that time was, man, I need to get my phones back online because at the time I have no battery. I thought I have no battery. I need to go immediately find a way to contact my wife that I am okay. My biggest nightmare was actually at that time not dying on the fire. I didn't even thought about it. My biggest fear that if my wife knew it from someone else instead of from me, from the media, okay, I'll be banned from the mountains. That was my main concern. I even make joke about it, like with the rest of the team, right? So yeah. So basically from that Camp 4 and to the next, it's just kind of like, it's just a smooth sailing. It's just more kind of like we were being rescued, but I don't agree with that term. We were not being rescued, by the way. So yeah, from there, like we were being like picked up we walked through, and then we met the group of like the Indonesian rescue team. Yeah, I appreciate your help. I appreciate their help. I appreciate their effort to help us. And they're really kind of like taking care of us. Like they're checked either we have a wound or injury and everything. They take care of the wound. They clean up the wound and everything. Feed us, give us water, and they arrange the car. They arrange they arrange the transportation with ojek. These ojek things are very cool. They can ride through those kind of like mountainous track, and they take us back to the base camp in Wonorejo, which is at that time it was just like it was crowded. It's just like puzzling. It was like very surreal. I saw a lot of cars there. Cars from the media, military cars,
My goodness.
military police, and then like crowds, the whole villagers, the students, the kids, like they ignoring the teachers. They're just like crowding over us, and then yeah, we were being interviewed. We were being kind of like somehow become like big news. It turned out to be we were being a big news.
Especially with the Singaporeans.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's just, oh man, I'm so gonna be dead because my wife knew it somehow from the media. Still have a hope. Like I hope she did not read the news. I hope she didn't read the news. Yeah, when I opened my phone finally, no, because like somehow there's several inbox, and then after that, yeah. my father and my mother-in-law missed call. And yeah, like a bunch of like kind of like inbox, which is I dare not to read it like at this moment. So that is, I was thinking like that was the end of my adventure going to the mountain. That's it. I'm gonna be there for the rest of my life.
Which is not.
Well, with the TC romantic condition.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jeremy. It's such an encouraging and powerful testimony you have there. Certainly through this walk, through this incident, through this actually these ways that that God actually changed the maturity of the level of your faith. Definitely, I see now how that you achieve the next level of your faith. You're getting mature and mature until you reach a certain moment, certain kind of level of faith that you definitely God in the end will say, okay, my son, my child, you have finished and you have reached the faith that I already put on you. And at that moment definitely probably God will say, okay, come home.
Yeah.
But of course God said not now.
Yeah.
Although you said that okay, I'm ready, but God said no, it's not the moment. I just want to mold you, just want to shape you more.
Fire trial.
Yeah, just like in the Bible said that we are the clay, He's a potter, how He molded us, He changed us, shaped us. It's not how should I say, it's not a very nice experience, if I should quote the terms. Imagine a potter when you mold those
it's not pleasant.
Yeah,
it's
and then they put it on fire to just harden it, and then they carve it as well. Imagine it's painful actually. But of course, in the end, you will look at the end product. It's something which is very beautiful. That's actually God usually puts us on some kind of situations that actually in our human mind or human thoughts that we think that no, God, you're not fair. I'm in pain here. I'm having a problem now, but why you never answer my prayer? But why now I'm still in this kind of position, right? But of course, God knows us better because He is our Creator, He is our Father, and He knows what's best for us. And of course, in the Bible also said that Jesus never promised us a bright sky.
Yeah.
And then Jesus also said, take my yoke. Right? So things are probably in our life never will be easy. Always, have tribulations, problems as well. So remember that sometimes in our life we face tribulations, probably at that moment we feel despair, and probably we feel like we're very sad, and sometimes we pray to God, and probably like God sometimes doesn't answer your prayer, but doesn't mean that He doesn't hear you or He left you alone. No, He's working in His own way. He's actually still there, and actually He's guiding you. Like our brother Jeremy here, when he prayed, God didn't instantly answer his prayer, but actually God guiding him through all of the path until in the end, actually when Jeremy looked back to the past and how God has actually guided him safely, now that he would understand that actually God has worked through all of his life, through all of his tribulations, which as well will work on you as well. Just call on God and then build on your relationship with God, be close to Him, and then because the more you're closer to Him, the more you're more sensitive on the calling, on what He will have in your life and your plan, and as well it will build your faith later on. Just like in Psalm 46, God say, "Be still and know that I am your God." Sometimes we need to be still and listen to what He says, listen to what He's planning for our life. Doesn't, as I mentioned before, doesn't mean that He's not working. Yes, He's still working, but through His own beautiful time. And as well in Psalm 62, says that our soul find rest in God alone, and He is our salvation. So just leave it everything to God, because we find rest, our soul, in God alone. And we will find peace through Him, through the loving God that has already saved us through sin, and He died for us. And remember that, that's what Paul said, that, you know, our life is just like a race. And at that, and then in that time when we finish the race, we will receive the crown. You know, the crown of what? The crown of
Life.
life. You will get eternal life in heaven with our Father in heaven. So remember that. Pray and always seek God's words. He will never leave you alone. May the blessings and love of God be always with you forever.